This is a Wave breaking news alert.
Richard Bruce Cheney.
We're starting with this breaking news this morning. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died. His family released a statement saying that he passed away at the age of 84. The 46th Vice President served alongside Republican President George W. Bush for 2 terms between 2001 and 2009. His family says he died from complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease. He was a central figure in Bush administration's war on terror, a response to the September 11th terror attacks. We'll have much more on this developing story on wave3.com. So 84, and of course he has a daughter, Liz Cheney, who is very involved in the political world as well. Good morning, Shannon Cogan here, alongside Olivia Russell, Rob Wells, and meteorologist Tawana Andrew.
Yeah, Tuesday morning, Monday, already done it over with. So, hey, so many people hate Mondays. Let's just get out of the way.
Yeah, and we decided that we like Tuesdays now, right?
No.
I
still don't like Tuesdays. I told you. It's Monday, we can talk about the weekends. We get it. Like, okay, it's going to be rough, but it's Wednesday, you're halfway through the week. Thursday, Friday Eve. Friday is basically the weekend, but what is Tuesday?
Taco Tuesday.
Olivia. Okay.
Taco Tuesday. That's something we can all look forward to. And later on today, if you need it, throw in a margarita. Why not? We're dealing with right now some areas of fog. This is just very interesting shot here on our SkyTrack camera. This is that bank of fog in New Albany. We're seeing the clear skies overhead, and it's clear right by the camera. So it's just one of those things where we're seeing that fog trying to form. But now that sun is coming up over the horizon in just about 10 minutes, it will gradually help to mix out the fog. But the fog is pretty patchy. Not everyone dealing with it, but it is a little bit locally dense in some spots. But once you get past really around 9, 10 o'clock, it will mix out. We'll also keep an eye on some of these upper level clouds streaming in right now, but they're going to stay with us throughout most of the day. Your temperatures are in the 30s as of this moment, but once we get into later on this afternoon, we are going to climb back into the 60s for your afternoon highs. So a decent warm up coming our way before we see even warmer weather showing up for tomorrow. Rob?
Thanks so much. Still keeping our eyes at 702 on a real traffic snafu to talk about. This is at 64 East at English Station Road. Reports about 45 minutes ago of a 5-car accident in that area. No word on injuries, but you can see it's causing some real traffic nightmares out there. Traffic now was down to 1 lane for a while. Now it looks like they are trying to have 2 lanes there, but you can see a large emergency response in that area. That car up in the left-hand corner there of your screen, kind of sitting by himself, it did look like there was smoke billowing from it about maybe 5, perhaps 10 minutes ago. That's all we know at this point. No reports of injuries, but if you are heading out through there, give yourself a lot of extra time. You may want to hop off at the Snyder and take Shelbyville Road, even though traffic is backing up to that area again. This is at 64 East at English Station Road. Back over to you.
Thank you. Millions of Americans who rely on SNAP benefits could finally get some relief. 2 federal judges ordered the Trump administration to keep the program afloat. The Trump administration said it would use more than $4.5 billion in contingency funds to cover about half of each eligible household's benefits for this month. Local charities are raising money and ramping up distribution of food to SNAP families. Feed Louisville says it normally serves around 800 meals a day to people in need, but now they're up to over 1,000 a day. Last week, Feed Louisville published a list of basic food items that they need people to donate, and they said that they're seeing the community really step up.
Just since Thursday, we've had about 1,100 pounds worth of items off of that list donated. And that's just the SNAP items. That doesn't even include the extra restaurants that have been donating ready-to-eat food from their own kitchens that we've been making meals out of. I probably made another 250 meals this morning just out of that extra food.
And we checked in with Metro United Way. They say they've received $162,000 in donations since Friday. The group also launched a food relief program that included a Kroger gift card giveaway. Organizers say it just took 15 minutes for all the online applications to be filled. Today, First Lady Brittany Bashir and Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman will address the SNAP cuts. They'll also explain how Kentuckians can help. They'll be joined by JCPS Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood at Dare to Care Food Bank on Fern Valley Road this morning at 10.
Kentucky State Police say the suspect in a deadly shooting in Meade County has been found dead. Investigators say they found 45-year-old Scott Hornback dead after an hours-long search. Police say he shot and killed 55-year-old Mary Crace on Simpson Lane in Ekron. Investigators have not released details about how Hornback died or any connection he had to Crace. Once we learn more information from State Police, we'll update you on air and online at wave3.com.
A woman convicted in the death of her 3-year-old stepdaughter is set to spend 40 years in prison. In August of 2023, police were called to Norton Children's Hospital after learning the little girl suffered a traumatic brain injury. The girl's stepmother, Ashanti Jackson, said the child fell off her bed during a seizure and went unconscious. The girl died after she'd been on life support for 2 days. An autopsy revealed her death was caused by blunt impact injuries to the head. Monday, a judge sentenced Jackson to 40 years for aggravated battery causing death and 3 years for neglect of a dependent resulting in death.
A special session to change Indiana's voting maps isn't expected to start until December. State House Speaker Todd Huston says he expects the session to happen during the first 2 weeks of the month. Last week, Governor Mike Braun called lawmakers back to the Capitol for a special redistricting session. Normally, a redrawing of the maps happens every 10 years, though state lawmakers approved the current maps back in 2021. On Monday, the nonprofit Do Something Indiana rallied outside of the Grand, where Governor Braun was scheduled to speak. Many protesters said redrawing maps should not be a priority when there are other issues in Indiana.
If we want to change them, we'll do that in 6 more years. I think gerrymandering has been done probably all over the country at many times, but it doesn't help to not represent the people who have elected you.
Governor Braun says redrawing the voting maps will protect Hoosiers' voices in Washington. Indiana lawmakers have 39 days to complete the special session once it starts.
Work is underway in Louisville on a project aimed at making it safer and easier for people to walk and bike between Cherokee and Seneca Parks.
The joint initiative between Louisville Metro's Department of Transportation and Parks and Recreation will add a shared pedestrian and bike lane along with crosswalks. Rob Wells is back with a closer look. Rob.
And Olivia, those backing the project say while safety improvements are a top goal, it'll also make it easier to get around, whether on foot or behind the wheel. The city of Louisville investing some $200,000 to complete that project between Cherokee and Seneca Parks. When it's complete, the project will add nearly 5,000 feet of new pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure between the two. Improvements include a bike and pedestrian path with 2-foot buffers and bright green safety markings, high visibility walkways, rumble strips along the entire facility for the visually impaired, and more than 200 delineator posts separating vehicles from the pedestrian areas.
This is pedestrian space, and it is defined by more visual cues that to give, motorists the heads up when they are veering out of the travel lanes for cars and into, shared space for pedestrians and cyclists and other users that are, enjoying the park.
Upgraded ADA compliant features such as detectable warning surfaces and improved curve ramps, also part of the vision. While no road closures are expected during construction, motorists may in fact encounter flaggers at times who are helping to manage and maintain the safe flow of traffic. Drivers, of course, should also be cautious of surroundings and on the lookout for workers, pedestrians, and bicyclists. Construction is expected to wrap up by mid-November. Olivia?
Thank you, Rob. We've learned the name of the driver who LMPD says was hit and killed on Spaghetti Junction after trying to run away from a crash. The Jefferson County coroner says 20-year-old Christian Shively died at the scene. The crash happened just after 2 a.m. on Friday at I-64 East and I-65. Police say Shively was driving a Hyundai when he rear-ended another car, then jumped out of the vehicle and tried to run away. That's when he was hit on I-64 West. The driver who hit Shively stayed at the scene and was not charged.
7 organizations that work to help those who are homeless in Louisville will now split more than $1 million to help their mission. The organizations listed on your screen will be awarded Home Initiative grants. They include Volunteers of America Mid-States, Wayside Christian Mission, and YMCA of Greater Louisville. They provide essential services to those who are experiencing homelessness, like case management and emergency shelter, with a focus on support during inclement weather events. The St. John Center director spoke with us about how their team will use the money.
We are expanding our day shelter to provide overnight shelter. And this is not something we do with a light heart, right? We believe that know that the solution to chronic homelessness is housing. And that is really where we are excited to invest. But we know that we have to keep people alive, right, in order to move them into housing.
The St. John Center will provide 20 shelter beds during the cold winter nights. They are working to expand the access to beds at other organizations and faith-based institutions as well. So to come, a new proposal could be the first signs U.S. lawmakers are a step closer to ending the government shutdown.
We have an update on the bipartisan agreement that's in the early stages of negotiation. In Washington, a potential agreement to extend Affordable Health Care Act subsidies appears to be gaining traction. A 4-member bipartisan group of House lawmakers announced an outline for how to potentially extend the subsidies. A potential deal could end the ongoing government shutdown. The deal would extend subsidies for 2 years, but also include certain eligibility caps and guardrails. The debate over health care has led to a stalemate in the Senate. Democrats want a bill to reopen the government to include the health care subsidies protections. The proposal would need 60 votes in the Senate to gain full approval.
There are several key elections taking place today around the country.
One of the most closely watched races is the race for mayor of New York City. Democratic primary winner Zohran Mamdani is facing off against former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's running as an independent, and Republican Curtis Sliwa. Mamdani, who is a self-described Democratic socialist, has had the lead in most recent polls. Mamdani also beat Cuomo in the Democratic primary.
And another hotly contested race, governor of New Jersey, Democrat Mikey Sherrill is facing Republican Jack Ciattarelli. President Donald Trump has endorsed Ciattarelli. Sherrill is trying to become the second woman elected as New Jersey governor. And Virginia about to make history with its first female governor. Republican Winsome Earl-Sears and Democrat Abigail Spanberger are both fighting for that office. Recent polls show Spanberger with a lead on Earl-Sears. And you can stay with us later on Wave to get those results. And right now, let's check in with meteorologist Tawana Andrew. It's another chilly start, not even the 40s yet.
Yeah, we are so cold this morning. Even just walking from the weather office back out here, I was like, ooh, it's a tad chilly to start off the day. And on top of that, we are dealing with some areas of fog. So this is kind of a cool shot, I think anyway. This is that bank of fog stretching from New Albany right along the Ohio River. And right where the camera is clear, but then you look off into the distance, you see that fog. And right on the other side of that bank of fog is the 2nd Street Bridge. So yeah, I'm just going to be keeping an eye on this for those of you heading out and about this morning. Most of us dealing with A-OK visibility. 10 is perfect. 10 is what you want to see. But we are seeing those pockets of that fog, especially in our river valleys and near bodies of water, like what we saw on that Sky Tracker camera. Also seeing it showing up in portions of Clark County and in parts of Oldham County and Floyd County too. So please be careful as you're heading out and about. Going to continue to keep an eye on some upper level clouds drifting by overhead for this morning into the afternoon, courtesy of a warm front off towards our west. Your temperatures are in the 30s right now. So everybody off to a cold start. A lot of you outside the metro in those low to mid 30s to start off the day. But the sunshine and the southerly wind in our forecast will help to push your temperatures back into the low to mid 60s for later on this afternoon, which is right around average. Tonight, returning to the 40s and low 50s. So thankfully not as cold getting into your Wednesday morning, but we will have to keep an eye on the wind for Wednesday morning. That's because of a front that will be pushing our way. This will bring an increase in that wind and temperatures out ahead of the front, climbing well into the upper 60s and the low 70s. Something to note, though, is that these wind gusts between 25 and 35 miles per hour are mainly looking to be in the morning and early afternoon. So that means, yes, your morning commute could be impacted by those gusty winds on Wednesday. For Thursday, behind that front, we are going to be dropping right back down into the 50s and low 60s. Another front arrives on Friday. This will bring some more of those showers back into our forecast, a couple of thunderstorms as well. So this will be our next big weather maker, and we'll keep an eye on the strength of some of these storms. But as of right now, no widespread severe weather is expected. We get into Friday night and Saturday morning. This is when we are going to be seeing a lot of that rain clearing out, even a lot of the clouds clearing out across our region, which does bode well for Saturday. So Saturday is looking pretty good. The question is how much moisture will be around with our Sunday system, because that does look to bring a couple of light showers for the early morning hours on your Sunday. But as we get into the second half of Sunday and we still have that low nearby and temperatures start to drop a little bit more, this is where we could get some drizzle, some flurries coming our way. So yeah, we're now into November, so we're now starting to see still a little tease of winter trying to come our way. And behind that system as well, Monday is looking pretty chilly with morning temperatures in the 20s and low 30s, afternoon highs only in the upper 30s and the low 40s. So yes, some of you will not get out of the 30s on Monday, and we'll warm up a little bit more for Veterans Day, which is certainly some good news there. We do see that warming trend, and by next Wednesday and Thursday, still looking sunny and dry as we return to the mid to upper 50s for your highs. So a lot happening over the next 10 days.
Yeah, but that tease of winter, we'll have to see about that. Thanks, Tawana. Walking on a daily basis isn't just good for your body. Turns out it's actually good for your mind, too. A new study says increasing the number of steps taken daily may slow cognitive decline in older adults who are already showing signs of early Alzheimer's disease. Those who had at least 3,000 steps per day seem to delay cognitive decline by about 3 years. That rose to 7 years for people who did at least 5,000 daily steps. The findings are based on just under 300 people over the age of 50.
Yeah, walking, they say, so good for you.
You and I love walking too during our break. So yeah, we're good.
Yes.
We're good.
A Louisville restaurant announced it is closing. Here, when is the last time you'll be able to grab a meal here? Ahead on Sunrise Extra. Now, this Saturday, you can honor our nation's heroes with the Kentucky Veterans Day Parade.
This year's parade will look a little different, though, because it's moving to Nulu for the first time. Wait News reporter Kirsten Foote has a preview of what you can expect.
Well, what better way to roll up to the Veterans Parade and honor those who have sacrificed so much in none other than a 1943, a World War II Ford Jeep. I'm here with Mario Maypet, and this is your Jeep right here. Tell me a little bit about this vehicle.
Well, this rolled off the Louisville Assembly Plant in February of 1943, and it served in the Pacific in World War II, and it was brought back by a Navy commander in 1949. So it was born in Louisville, went to war, spent its retirement years in Northern California, and I brought it home.
Awesome. And what is it? You know, you fix this up and you drive this around. This will be in the parade this weekend, right?
Yes. And we're going to be giving rides to about 15 heroes among us, veterans. So my group will be providing the vehicles for those. And yes, you know, we work on these vehicles, we preserve them for the purpose of honoring our veterans and educating the public, keeping the history alive and in motion.
And you're a veteran yourself. And
not really, but you know, I served in the Air Force communications system during the first Gulf War. So,
Gotcha. Yeah. And what does it mean for you to be able to honor those people who have served our country and just be able to give them the respect that they deserve?
Well, it's a privilege to be able to do that. And lately, you know, we've been trying to honor a lot of the World War II veterans because there's only a few of them left. And that's the feeling of honoring the veterans, especially 2 weekends ago, we had a veteran that celebrated his 101st birthday.
Oh.
And he actually drove one of our vehicles, 101.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And we've been doing that for him for the last 3 years. So you can see his face, his anxiousness to be able to go behind the Jeep, which he maintained in the Pacific when he was there during the war.
It's so important, and it's a great way to get in touch with history too. And when I say touch history, I mean literally touch history.
Oh, yes.
You know, after the parade's over, people can come up and they can kind of touch these vehicles and a tank and everything.
Yes.
Why is it so important to connect this generation with our previous generations?
Well, it's important because of the fact that, you know, all the liberties that we enjoy today were blood was given up for those, lives were given up, and this is a physical thing that, you know, people can touch. Like I said, even the World War II veterans, they don't talk about their experience in the war, but something happens once they get into the Jeep. They start talking. Some of the family members have never heard their grandfather talk about the war.
Yeah.
But something about these vehicles that bring them back to the time. You know, it's a war, you know, it's bad times, but there were also good times. And that's one of the things that, you know, we like to give the veterans an opportunity to be able to share that.
Absolutely, and it's so important to do so. And you can do so yourself this Saturday, November 8th at 11 a.m. right down here in Nulu. Parade's going down East Market Street. Definitely don't want to miss it. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Kirsten. Well, a Louisville Italian restaurant is closing its doors after 15 years. DeFabio's on Frankfort Avenue said in a Facebook post it's shutting down at the end of the year. They are still planning to be open on the eves of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, as well as their normal hours. The post says they'll miss their staff and their customers, but they are excited about the future.
We'll be right back with more Sunrise Extra right after this.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. Kentucky State Police say the suspect in a deadly shooting in Meade County has been found dead. Investigators say they found 45-year-old Scott Hornback dead after an hours-long search. Police say he shot and killed 55-year-old Mary Crace on Simpson Lane in Ekron. Investigators haven't released details about how he died or the connection he had to the victim. When we get more information from State Police, we'll update you on air and on wave3.com. Let's go to meteorologist Tawana Andrew right now. And are we going to warm up much?
Oh, we are going to get warmer than we were yesterday, which is certainly some good news. But what we're dealing with right now, that bank of fog in some spots. This is New Albany looking off towards the east. You're seeing the sun off into the distance there over that fog. And now as the sun rises, we're going to see that fog gradually mixing out. So we are dealing with that lower visibility in many spots where that patchy fog is showing up. But thankfully, as we continue throughout the morning, we will quickly see it mixing out. Your temperatures right now are in the 30s across our region, so bundle up, grab that jacket, grab that coat. Once we get into later on this afternoon, low to mid 60s for your highs, and we'll talk about more of that light southerly wind. Now, the wind will pick up for later on tomorrow into really the morning hours is where we have the best chance for gusty winds. Highs tomorrow in the upper 60s and low 70s, and then we'll cool down for the end of the week. Rob?
Tawana, thanks so much. Still keeping our eyes on a traffic snafu that started right around an hour and a half ago. This is I-64 at English Station Road. Reports came in initially of at least 5 cars being involved in this crash out there. It really caused a major slowdown. We still have things down to about 2 lanes out there on the right-hand side. A lot of emergency responders still in that area. But again, this is 64 East at English Station Road. You're going to want to really take your time through that area. If you can, hop off the Snyder, take Shelbyville Road. Now back to more of the Today Show.
Good morning. Thanks for staying with us here on Sunrise Extra. I'm Olivia Russell, and we're continuing to follow this breaking news this morning. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died. According to his statement from his family, he died due to complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease. The 46th vice president served alongside Republican President George W. Bush for 2 terms between 2001 and 2009. Cheney was a central figure in the Bush administration's War on Terror, which was a response to the September 11th attacks. Cheney was 84 years old. He's survived by his wife, Liz, who was a former U.S. representative for Wyoming, and by his second daughter, Mary. You can find much more on this developing story on wave3.com. And we'll, of course, be continuing to follow this as more people send their condolences to the family. Some families are grappling with changes made to Indiana's child voucher program, which may leave many without options moving forward. Indiana's Family and Social Services Administration announced last week that it will no longer be giving out new child care vouchers for low-income families until at least 2027. Wave News reporter Julia Richardson walks us through all the coming changes and how it also impacts daycare staff.
That's going to hurt a lot of families.
Alexis Lee has 2 boys who already attend Child Care Partners in Jeffersonville on the voucher program. She was hoping her 5-month-old would be able to join them next year. But following the announcement that no new vouchers will be given out until at least 2027, she has to make a different plan.
Just going to have to take less days at work to stay home with him and, kind of take the sitters that I do have for the days that I can work.
Lee's son is one of thousands of kids on a waiting list to receive a voucher whose families are now left to find other solutions. That growing waiting list is something Holly Roberts, owner of Child Care Partners, says has begun to impact her business in recent months.
We were not getting as many CCDF voucher enrollments. The state made it sound like it was going to be temporary.
In a statement to Wave News, the Deputy Chief of Staff for the Family and Social Services Administration says the previous governor, Eric Holcomb's team, over-enrolled kids in the voucher program using temporary COVID funding. To keep from cutting the total number of vouchers in half, the state government decided to stop awarding new vouchers, but also reduce provider rates. But I'm told those rates being reduced is another issue in itself.
I just found out today that my co-payment for childcare went from $55 to $115 a week, and that I'm no longer eligible for before and after school care, that they're only going to help me during summer breaks and like spring break and stuff. So, I'm at a loss as to what to do.
And several parents at Child Care Partners are in that same situation. So, realizing she can't afford to provide care with lower rates, Roberts was left to make a tough decision.
My options are to ask the parents to pay that gap, which they can't afford. And unfortunately, today we are announcing that we are discontinuing our school age program.
Now, parents who have school age children at the center, like Crystal Sims, are in a difficult place. They not only have to find a new place to send their kids, but grapple with paying more every week.
I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it all. But I have to work. So there's no way around it.
And Roberts said she's working to reduce her rates to help families that have children younger than school age, but she doesn't know how much she can do while keeping her business open. Jefferson County, Indiana prosecutors have filed a 42nd charge against a barbecue smoker company. It's the same company that was exposed by the Wave troubleshooters over the summer. The owner of Southern Smokers, Jeffrey Briscoe, was arrested and charged with multiple counts of theft in early May for taking customers' money but not building smoker trailers or offering refunds. Prosecutors filed the latest charge after learning a customer went to Southern Smokers the day before Briscoe's arrest and paid $6,800 for a smoker. Police said at the time of the purchase, Briscoe had 40 other orders, which he had not completed. Briscoe has been in jail since his arrest on a $250,000 bond. He's pleaded not guilty to all charges. Briscoe's trial has been pushed back to April. This morning, Brooks Houck is in custody at another facility after he was transferred out of the Oldham County Detention Center. Houck is one of the 3 men convicted in the case on disappearance and presumed murder of Crystal Rogers. Prosecutors say Houck was one of the last people to see the Bardstown mother alive over 10 years ago. Houck was transferred to the Big Sandy Detention Center in Paintsville. He was sentenced to life in prison earlier this year. He is currently appealing his conviction. The Metro has launched a new program to help with estate planning. Free legacy planning services will now be available through the Louisville Financial Empowerment Center. They'll be offering a one-on-one financial counseling program. City leaders say it will help people take steps to protect their assets at no cost. The program will help with adding beneficiaries to accounts and creating essential documents such as wills and powers of attorney. The Free Public Library in downtown Louisville will be closing for a year. The main library on York Street in downtown Louisville is closing for up to 12 months starting Monday, December 1st. Contractors originally thought the branch could stay open during the $8 million renovation project, but they say new challenges made that hard to do safely. The main library is the largest branch of all of Kentucky. The renovation will create more than 16,000 square feet of public space and open existing closed stacks of the 1906 building, renovate and reopen the third floor, which has been closed, and add new study spaces and furniture. Because the branch is closing, library services will be shifting elsewhere, and you can learn more on our website, wave3.com.
Kentucky Fish and Wildlife say that this confirmed case was from a 2.5-year-old white-tailed deer. It was hunted by a crossbow, and at the taxidermist, testing showed it was positive for chronic wasting disease. Joe McDermott, the state's deer program coordinator, says the deadly disease is not curable and usually found after the death of a deer.
Well, they just kind of act like they don't have their wits about them. They kind of lose their fear of humans.
But he says this case shouldn't make hunters scared to hunt. Instead, they need Kentuckians' help by having them continue hunting as they normally would this season.
What we're going to be doing this year is working with some of our processing partners. So during deer season, you may see us at a local processor.
Now, Kentucky Fish and Wildlife tells me the disease is not known to infect humans, but the CDC warns against eating meat from deer that test positive for it.
The disease is not known to pass the species barrier, so it's not going to infect a human.
The last CWD confirmed deer was in Ballard County last December. He says they don't know if this case is connected to that deer, but further testing could help. So they are trying to promote their free testing kits.
You can go to get your animal tested if you're concerned about CWD. We will be hosting a public meeting sometime around the start of modern gun season in Pulaski County. So that'd be a good opportunity for folks to come down and get some information about CWD and answer your questions.
In Frankfort, Carly Hogston, WKYT.
And deer that appear to be sick can be reported through Kentucky Fish and Wildlife's online sick deer reporting form for review by wildlife health staff. Definitely something to keep in mind this hunting season. We're going to take a quick break. Coming up, we'll be talking about Derby in December. Already thinking ahead to that as we have a live interview with Kentucky Derby Museum staff. Stick with us. All right, so we are counting down the days to Derby, and of course, they're keeping a very close eye on that tab at the Kentucky Derby Museum. Joined now by Darby Bean. How many days exactly is it? Do you know?
How many days until Derby?
Yeah.
The countdown really starts at 100 days. We're
Okay.
still more than 100 days out, but I know that
So you're breathing.
January 22nd starts 100 days. And once we get through Thanksgiving and the holidays, January 22nd is going to be here really fast, and that 100-day countdown is going to go.
So you're already talking about January, but we have Derby in December coming up, an event that you all have been hosting for about 3 years now. I remember talking about it the first year that you all did it. It's grown so much. Tell us some of the highlights about Derby in December this year.
Well, this is the third year that we're going to have this event. It's a partnership between us at the Kentucky Derby Museum, the Kentucky Derby Festival, and Churchill Downs. So it's a great way to get the Derby partners locally together. We have free admission to the museum all day long. It's going to be later on in December. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful time to hang out with everybody. Because it's that free admission, the community's welcome to come. You know, you don't have to pay to get in. You can explore the exhibits that day. And then we're also going to have activations that day too from each of the partners. You get to see Pegasus pins from the festival. Churchill Charlie, the mascot from Churchill Downs.
Get your picture with Churchill Charlie. You have to. I mean, I feel like so many people like myself who grew up in Louisville never actually went to the Derby Museum too. That's got to be a cool opportunity. Like, hey, you can go for free. Just check this out in your hometown. Do you get a lot of people who are like, I'm from here. I only came because my friends are in town, and this is actually really cool in our own backyard?
I think sometimes people may be surprised how incredible the museum is. We've got 2 floors of exhibits that you can explore. And on this day in Derby in December, we also have all these other partnerships going on. So it's going to be like a big party when you're there. And we really say that we try to celebrate Derby every day at the museum. So just because this is in December, you know, we have more than 255,000 guests a year. A lot of those are tourists, are people from out of town, are people from all over the world. But we want to say, like, hey, this is in your backyard and it's really cool. And we want to give you the opportunity to come check it out for free.
And a name that I know every Louisvillian has probably heard by now, Pat Day, a special recognition for him with this too. Tell us about that.
Yes. So the museum is going to be presenting Pat Day with our second ever Lifetime Achievement Award. Pat Day, for anybody who doesn't know, he's a Hall of Fame jockey. Incredible career. Like you said, I think most everybody around here knows Pat Day, and they've watched the Kentucky Derby. He won the Derby in 1992 on Lil E.T. He has just an incredible career. And we're very, very excited to be able to present him with this award. So that's going to be one of the highlights that morning. If you come December 11th for Derby in December, that you'll be able to watch Pat Day get this award and do a meet and greet with him. And it'll be a really special moment.
Kind of like that local legend here too. So that's a great opportunity there. Okay, so Derby in December, tell us exactly, we have some time, obviously, December, but we mentioned the holidays speed things up.
I know. So we wanted to go ahead and be here today.
Yes.
Put it on your calendar, mark it down. I know you get busy with holiday parties and that kind of thing. It's December 11th, but it's all day long. So it's from 9 to 5 that day. The museum is open. Come and go as you please. You know, we've got the fascinators and the dresses and everything going on all the time. So you can feel free to come full out Derby garb or just in your work attire. Come on your lunch break, hang out for a little bit, have some holiday party stuff going on. So we just invite everybody to be there, and I think it's going to be a really fun day.
Okay, and you mentioned you have a couple of floors at the museum too. How much time should people expect to spend there? Because it seems like you can almost get lost there and learn so much if you stop and look at every little thing.
Well, I would say any time that you've got for Derby in December, specifically that day on the 11th, swing by. It's going to be fun, even if you're just running in, see the award for Pat Day, and then head out. But really, we like for people to spend an hour or two at the museum. It takes a while to go through both of those floors, really soak it all in. And we have so many exhibits. And some people may say, well, I've been there before. It's the same old stuff. It's not the same old stuff. You know,
every time I swing by, it's something totally different.
You know,
or you all are
update.
Unveiling a new exhibit.
We have a new exhibit we opened this summer that's all about Derby fashion. We have a Secretariat exhibit upstairs that was unveiled just a few years ago for his big anniversary with his Triple Crown win. So there's all kinds of updates that our curatorial team is constantly doing, and it's really, really fun. If you haven't been in a while, I would encourage you to come check it out.
And for Derby in December, you all have a great opportunity for partnerships here. Tell us about that this year.
Yeah, well, we love doing this with the Kentucky Derby Museum, the Kentucky Derby Festival, and Churchill Downs. So while where we are is kind of the house for it all. It's our home that we're going to open up for the day. We couldn't do it without the other partners in this. You know, Churchill Downs is going to bring the Derby trophy. We have Churchill Charlie, as we mentioned. There's always something fun and exciting to see what's going to happen. And I know everybody waits for those Pegasus pins to come out. I haven't seen what they look like yet this year. So, you know, we've been in meetings with the festival about this, but they haven't shown us yet. So I'm excited to see what the Pegasus pins look like. And also, if you go go that day, you can sign up for the marathon, which is, their big thing that is really, really exciting. That's hitting an anniversary this year as well. So we're excited to be able to say, hey, show up this day. You can sign up for the marathon while you're here. Take part in that too.
Well, I already signed up for the mini marathons. Pray for me. Pray for me here because I have never run that before, but I've heard so many great things about it. And it's just all getting us in the Derby spirit, which people can do on December 11th at Derby in December. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're going to take a quick break because I know we're talking about Derby, but we have basketball to talk about because basketball season officially kicked off last night. You're a UK fan, right? Or WKU?
Well, I went to Western, by default, my husband's a UK fan, but we live in Louisville, so he's got to deal with that.
Come on, Sean. Yeah, I'm getting you on my side. So we'll talk about some of the highlights from U of L's big game last night. Stick with us. Oh, a great interview with the Kentucky Derby Museum talking about Derby in December, thinking about Derby. But we've got to remember, we just started basketball season and football season still very much so heating up. And today, two hometown teams will learn where they sit in the college football playoff rankings. A couple of teams hoping to hear their names called, both U of L and Indiana expected to hear their names near the top of the initial rankings from the College Football Playoff Committee. Indiana ranked second in the AP poll and is undefeated this season. They're pretty much a lock there with the college football playoffs, but of course the rest of the season could play out. Louisville, though, ranked 14th in the nation, so that one could put them right there on the edge, crossing their fingers. The new rankings will be released at 8 o'clock tonight. The Hoosiers play Penn State on Saturday. The Cards will travel to Cal this weekend for their matchup. But as we mentioned, it is basketball season, and Cards fans waking up really happy after checking the score this morning. They hosted South Carolina State last night. The Cards jumped out to an early 24-2 lead in the first half, and they never looked back. The Cards took a 59-15 lead into halftime. South Carolina State would be able to score 30 points in the second half, but it wasn't nearly enough. The Cards went on to win it. Final score, 104 to just 45. The Cards were led by transfer Isaac McNeely, who had 17 points, and sophomore Kenai Roots had 20 points. The Cards will host Jackson State at the KFC Yum Center Thursday at 7 p.m. The U of L women's basketball team opens the season tonight. The Cards will take on number 1 ranked and defending champion UConn. So that's going to be a tough one to open up the season. The game was originally scheduled to happen in Germany, but it was moved to the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland because of the government shutdown. The Cards come into the season ranked 20th in the country, and tip-off is set for 5:30 tonight. Good luck to the Cards. The UK women's team kicked off basketball season in Lexington as they hosted in-state foe Morehead State. The 24th ranked Cats had a scare early. They were looking at a 13-4 deficit just minutes into the game, but they were able to settle in, going on a 16-0 run, ending the first quarter with a 25-17 lead. The Cats would go on to win the second and third quarters, and that proved to be enough to hold on the upset-hungry Eagles, winning the game 75-59. But tonight, we're going to find out how UK basketball responds to that upset loss in their exhibition game. It's already been kind of a roller coaster of emotions for Big Blue Nation. The first exhibition of the year, the Cats defeated the preseason #1 Purdue by 13 points. Then riding that high, they dropped the second exhibition of the season by a score of 84-70 to the Georgetown Hoyas. The Cats looking to bounce back tonight, hosting Nicholls State University. That game will be at 7 o'clock at Rupp Arena. So exciting time here in the Commonwealth, especially when it comes to basketball. And as we mentioned, football, such a big time right now too. That's all the time we have here for Sunrise Extra. Thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you enjoy your Taco Tuesday, as Tawana keeps reminding me. Tuesday can't be that bad if we're enjoying tacos, right? Hope you have a great one. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.